Hello students, we are starting with osmosis and osmotic pressure. As you have studied osmosis from your lower sections, you must be knowing osmosis is what is osmosis. Now according to the diagram, first you can see that there is a solvent in one compartment and there is solution in another compartment. Solvent and solution, they are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. So now what is semi-permeable membrane? Semi-permeable membrane is a membrane which will allow only a solvent molecule to pass through it. The semi-permeable membrane is a membrane which will allow only solvent molecule to pass through it. That is called a semi-permeable membrane. Example: cellulose, cellulose nitrate, animal bladder. You can also take Cu2FeCN6, that is copper ferrocyanide, etc. Now what is happening in osmosis? Now osmosis is nothing but it is a process in which there is a unidirectional flow of solvent from solvent to solution through a semi-permeable membrane. So osmosis is a process in which solvent moves from solvent to solution through a semi-permeable membrane. That is called as an osmosis. So we can define osmosis as osmosis is a unidirectional flow of solvent molecules through a semi-permeable membrane into solution. You can also define osmosis in terms of concentration of solution. Now if we look at your second diagram, you can see there are two different solutions which are separated by semi-permeable membrane. One is solution of lower concentration, solution of higher concentration. So according to this, osmosis is nothing but a flow of a solution from lower concentration to higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. So osmosis is a flow of a solution of lower concentration to solution of higher concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. This is called as an osmosis. Now we are having doubt that what is osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure क्या रहेगा? Now osmotic pressure, that is nothing but the pressure which will stop the flow of solvent. You can observe in a diagram first that solvent is moving from left side to right side. So if I want to stop this process, I'll apply pressure from solution side, from this side. Or if you want to go from your concentration, from this side. So when you are applying pressure in opposite direction, the process of osmosis stop, and this is known as an osmotic pressure. So osmotic pressure is nothing but pressure which is applied from solution side, pressure which is applied from solution side to stop the flow of a solvent into solution through a semi-permeable membrane. So osmotic pressure is a pressure on the solution side which stops the flow of solvent into solution, okay, through a semi-permeable membrane. Now you have to keep in mind that solution does not apply osmotic pressure. Osmotic pressure is applied from outside force, like this. So osmotic pressure is always applied from outside force. Solutions will solution osmotic अपने आप osmotic pressure नहीं लगाएगा. The osmotic pressure will be given from outside and then only solution will apply that pressure. Okay, so this is everything about osmosis and osmotic pressure. Now how will how we derive will derive the Ventov equation for osmosis or osmotic pressure. Now you can see in the diagram that again there are two compartments. You can see solution is in compartment 2, solvent is in compartment 1. There is a flow indicator shown in solvent first. There is in center you can see there is a semi-permeable membrane, and on the left hand side there is an applied pressure. Now according to your thermodynamics, osmosis and osmotic pressure, when it is at an equilibrium, when osmotic and osmotic when osmosis and osmotic pressure is at an equilibrium condition, then chemical potential mu, okay, and free energy change for your solvent, that is G cap, both are, you can tell, both are constant or both will not change. Again I'll repeat, when According to thermodynamics, when osmosis and osmotic pressure are at equilibrium, then chemical potential mu and free energy change per solvent, that is G cap, both are at a equilibrium condition. So now at equilibrium condition, you can tell there is, at equilibrium condition temperature is constant, there is no change in pressure. Okay, so both these conditions are applied, and due to which you can say that your free energy change, okay, so this is constant. I've gonna tick. Then you can see d g cap by a, that is also constant. This is your free energy change, और जो उसके ऊपर वाला डी प्योर सॉल्वेंट इक्वल्स टू डी जीरो डी म्यू, that is your chemical potential. So chemical potential is also constant, and free energy change per mole of solvent is also constant. Okay, both the terms are constant. Now you can see, now what is happening, this condition is valid for your first compartment. You can, this one, this is valid for your first compartment, that is this one. Now you can see that in your compartment 2 there is solution. Now what will happen is, in this pure solvent, when I add some solute, it will change to solution. The solution is present in your compartment number second, this side, you can see. Okay, so in your second part, there is a your solution is at a constant temperature, but due to addition of solute, there is change in pressure and there is change in free energy change. Okay, both the conditions are taken. Due to addition of solute, there is change in pressure and free energy change because of change in moles, that is your x1. Now assuming your ideal behavior of a gas, okay, chemical potential change or change in chemical potential, that is given by RTD ln of x1, this one, RTD ln of x1, and change due to pressure, that is free energy change, that is given as VA dP. So first one is change, first one is that is change due to chemical potential, second one that is due to change due to pressure. Okay, both the conditions are taking place. Now the total change will be how much? Now total change in your second compartment, you can tell, okay, that is d g cap of a equals to RTD ln of x1 plus VA dP. Now at equilibrium you are knowing that d g cap a is equals to 0. So if I substitute this condition in above equation, getting 0 equals to RTD ln of x1 plus VA dP. Therefore VA cap dP equals to minus RTD ln of x1. So we are getting this equation. Okay, now again we'll continue this equation. You can see integrating between the limits, that is x1 equals to 1 to x1 and the pressure P initial to P final, what we are getting, VA cap P final minus P initial equals to minus RT ln of x1. Now but you are knowing that x1 plus x2 equals to 1, therefore x1 equals to 1 minus x2. Okay, therefore ln of x1 equals to minus x2. If I will substitute this condition over here, so I'll get my equation VA cap pi equals to RT x2. Now you are knowing that x2 is mole fraction of solute. Okay, and we'll multiply the above equation by n1, that is number of moles of a solvent. Therefore n1 VA cap pi equals to RT x2 n1. Now we have substitute value of x2 is n2 divided by n1 plus x2, n2 divided by n1 plus n2. So after substituting this, now we are considering a dilute solution, therefore n1 plus n2 equals to n1. So from these two equations we will get this equation. Okay, now after this what we'll do, from after getting this equation, we are having n1 VA pi equals to RT n2, n1 gets cancelled, so finally we get that equation. Now let n1 VA equals to V, therefore V pi equals to RT n2, therefore pi equals to n2 divided by V RT, therefore pi equals to CRT, since concentration is equals to n2 VA pi. This we have already studied earlier, or you can tell in your lower sections you have studied, where C is nothing but concentration in terms of mole per liter of a solution or molality of a solution. This above equation is nothing but your this above equation is valid only for your dilute solution. Thank you.